What's up, guys? So today I wanted to talk about the concept of forgiveness and why forgiveness is so important, not just for the people who've done us wrong, but for ourselves and our own healing journey. But I also wanted to talk about what happens when people don't want to be forgiven, or when you forgive them and they just continue acting the same way. Their patterns don't change. They get a comfort zone in treating you the way that they have been because they know that you'll continuously forgive them for their behavior. Now, in my life, I've been hurt by a lot of people and I've had different journeys with forgiveness. I've read books on forgiveness. I've struggled with the whole concept of it, if I'm going to be completely honest. I've gone through phases of my life where I just believed in blind forgiveness and, you just keep forgiving people because when you don't close those wounds that their hurts have caused, then you end up bleeding on those around you. So it is so important to be able to forgive, but forgiveness doesn't always have to come in the sense of you telling someone that you've forgiven them, or you allowing them to continue treating you the way that they have been. There's a lot of different ways that you can forgive. I mean, in an ideal world, an ideal situation where somebody hurts you, you should be able to have a conversation with that person. They should be able to, be accountable for what they've done and apologize. Even better yet, make good on what they've done wrong. Like if they've taken something from you, they should be able to give it back. If someone's robbed you, they should be able to say that they're sorry and give you back what they've taken from you. And you can then get closure and move on from it. That's the ideal situation. But life isn't always ideal, unfortunately. I've had people in my life who've hurt me where I've tried getting closure by telling them that I've forgiven them and having them tell me, I don't want your forgiveness. I don't need your forgiveness. I've had situations where I've tried to get forgiveness from them in order to be able to give them forgiveness from me as well, by writing down lists of things that I feel like I've done wrong to them, where I may have hurt them. And I've written these lists without the use of the word but, completely taking out anything that they've had done wrong to me and just focusing on what I've done. And there's all different ways that you can get closure from forgiveness. You can try all these different things, but if these things don't work, you can get left at a crossroads of wondering, how do I forgive people who continue to hurt me? And that's when it becomes difficult, because if somebody is, let's say someone is coming and punching you in the face every single day, and every single day you're just saying, I forgive you, they're just going to come and punch you in the face again the next day, and that doesn't work out well for you. So how do you forgive those who not only continue to hurt you, but want to hurt you, or want to hurt people that you care about? And I recently was reading the story of Jonah, and the message of it really spoke to me, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I know I'm probably going to lose like 50% of the 3,000 people who were potentially going to watch this video by saying that, but I'm okay with that, and I still love you guys. But this was a message that was on my heart to share because it really spoke to me.
Every day I see the sunrise, even if it feels like a climb. I don't have to walk that line. That's why I wake up and it's a really nice day, living in the right space, breathing your grace, got me feeling some kind of way.
So for those of you who don't know the story of Jonah, or maybe just those who need a refresher, because I've grown up hearing this story, but hearing it at this stage of my life, I feel like I heard it a little bit differently. It spoke to me a bit differently, and I feel like life's like that. depending on the stage of your life, you're gonna see differently into different stories that you hear, different situations that you experience. But basically, the quick rundown of the story of Jonah is Jonah was a man who God had instructed to go to the city of Nineveh and tell them that God was going to pass judgment on them. Now, the city of Nineveh was full of really bad people. It was a city full of murderers, the worst of the worst, basically. But Jonah didn't want to do it. Jonah was like, nah, I'm not going there. I'm cool. I'm actually going to run away and go the complete opposite way because I do not want to do that. And that's just what he did. He jumped on a boat, and while he was on that boat going the complete opposite direction, there was a huge storm, and people found out what he had done, and they threw him in the water, and he was swallowed by a whale. A few days later, that whale spat him up on the beach, and he finally gave in to what God had told him to do. And he marched to the city of Nineveh and told them, God is going to destroy you unless you change your ways. But the people actually did what he said. They changed their ways and they got their blessings. They got to live. They didn't get destroyed. And instead of Jonah being happy that the power of his tongue was able to save all of these lives, was able to save a whole city, was able to give these people their blessings, he was mad. He was mad at God. I guess he was thinking, I had to go through all this. I had to go through this crazy storm. I had to go through the anxiety of not wanting to go there. I got swallowed by a whale. Do you know what whale guts smell like? Do you know how dark it was in there? He had to go through all of this, and they went through nothing, and they had been the ones doing all the horrible stuff. This is a city full of murderers, the worst of the worst, and he came to tell them that judgment was coming, but they actually listened and changed their ways, and nothing happened to them. Everything happened to him, but nothing happened to them, and it didn't seem fair. So he was mad at God, and then he left the city of Nineveh, and he was waiting outside, waiting to see if they would really change or not, and he was hoping that they wouldn't. He wanted to see this city destroyed. He wanted to see them get judgment because he felt like they deserved it. And he made a little shelter, and it was boiling hot out there, like he was in the blistering heat, and God sent him a plant. He grew this plant that provided him with shade, and he went from being incredibly uncomfortable to incredibly comfortable. But then God sent a worm that ate the plant and killed the plant, and the plant was gone. And he grieved for this plant that he had hardly spent any time with. And this was the part of the story that stood out to me. Let me read. So then God said to Jonah, "Is it right for you to be angry because the plant died?" And Jonah said, "Yes, even angry enough to die." This is how mad he was. He was angry enough to die that this plant had been taken from him. This possession had been taken from him. Then God said to him, "You feel sorry for the plant, though you did nothing to put it there. It came quickly and died quickly. But Nineveh has more than 120,000 people living in darkness, not to mention all the animals. Shouldn't I feel sorry for such a great city?" Jonah was probably a pretty decent guy, probably lived a pretty decent life, tried to do the right thing. I mean, the fact that God was speaking one-on-one with him makes me think, all right, guy. But I also kind of get the feeling that Jonah was one of those people that perhaps got a little bit of comfort in knowing that God will sort out the problems. God will bring justice to the people who are doing wrong. And that's why he was so angry when these people, nothing happened to them, but so much happened to him. And I heard that, and I think sometimes I get stuck in that way of thinking. I'm not the type of person who particularly likes fighting with people. I'm not really a tit for tat type of person. But I have gone through phases where I've prayed for people that I want to forgive. And I've also gone through phases where I've felt a little bit of comfort in knowing that God will judge them for the horrible things that they've done to me. And at those points in my life where I've felt that bit of comfort in knowing that people who've hurt me will get, their just desserts, not from me, but from God. Haven't really been the bigger person. At those points in my life, I've thought I'm the bigger person because I don't play tit for tat. I'm not hurting you when you hurt me. I'm just letting God handle it. But the reality is, when you hope for the worst for somebody, hope that they'll get their judgment, you're kind of putting a curse on them as well. But even worse, you're not closing that wound. We all seek closure, but in order to close the wound, you have to hope for the best for those who've hurt you, to truly get forgiveness. And that's when it becomes hard to truly forgive people who don't want to be forgiven. And when I read the story of Jonah again, I got to thinking that true forgiveness in situations like this, it's not about telling the person that you forgive them. It's not about them saying sorry. It's about praying that their lives will change, that they will get their blessings, that they will be able to change and live better lives, and not only no longer hurt you, but no longer hurt anybody else. Because I feel like we are all destined for something. We all have something great inside of us, even the people who've done us wrong. And I feel like a way to heal is practicing prayer for those who want to hurt you. And it's harder than it sounds. And it's going to be even harder when you see them get their blessings, because chances are they may get their blessings before you get yours, and that's not going to feel fair. But if we can't forgive the people that we're walking around with open wounds for, then we're never going to get our blessings either. And that's the hard truth of it all. In order to get those scabs, to close those wounds, we have to hope for the best for the people who wish the worst on us. And that's what I got out of that story. And I also got that sometimes the people who are the hardest to pray for, they're the ones who need it the most. I just wanted to share that because thinking of it that way, it helped me out, because there's been people that I've struggled to forgive for a long time and struggled to pray for a long time, and thinking about it that way, it's made it a little bit easier. And I say a little bit because I'm still a work in progress. There's still people in my life who are very hard for me to genuinely pray for, but that's something that I'm working on about myself. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
I can't explain, but I'm feeling some kind of way.